Today I fucked up by angrily telling two women at the movies to stop using their phones. For whatever reason, I always end up next to the person who wants to talk, ask their friend what's happening, take 5 minutes to open a bag of candy, repeatedly check their phone, sit and text message for the whole thing, whatever. It drives me nuts and takes me out of the moment. I try to ignore it and typically don't say anything, but this time, it was literally the person right in front of me on their phone. Full brightness, I level. And kept happening over and over. So in the deepest, most guttural voice I could manage, I leaned forward and whispered angrily, "Put your phone away." They immediately put the phone away and never used it again. 10 minutes or so later, the person next to them brought their phone up and did the same thing. I leaned in again and even more sternly whispered, "Put your phone away." The phone immediately goes down. No more phones for the rest of the movie. But at the end of the movie, the lights come up, and it turns out this was a group of about 20 developmentally disabled adults out on a field trip to watch a movie. The looks of fear these two women had looking over at me while their caretaker gathered them all up broke me. Ugh, I felt horrible. Too long did not read. I angrily whispered to some rude moviegoers to stop using their phones during the movie, and it turns out they were developmentally disabled adults on a field trip who I scared the heck out of. Whoops. You did nothing wrong. They were not behaving correctly for the environment. Being developmentally disabled isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card. There should have been things in place to ensure they behaved appropriately. You helped them develop better movie-going habits. Did you treat these people that way because they were developmentally disabled? No. Then you did nothing wrong. You treated them as peers, as equals, which they are. Their caretakers should have taught them proper behavior during a movie. You had no way of knowing who you were talking to, but maybe you could have found one of the caretakers afterwards and asked to pass along an apology. Everyone has to learn. No harm done. If anything, their caretaker was negligent. Thank you for saying something. Cell phone abuse is one of the reasons I don't go to movies anymore. Now I'm starting to see it at theater and symphony productions. If I ruled the world, people would have to prove that their phone is turned off before they enter the theater. Today I fucked up by making a lady think I was asking her on a date. So I am 25, live in a relatively small town, everyone knows everyone kind of deal. And so a lot of people recognize me, and especially my dog. So I left my apartment to go to the grocery store, when this lady passes me with her tiny puppy. We make eye contact as it eagerly bounces towards me, and I ask if I can greet it. She says yes, and I do so. We start doing a little small talk, and eventually asks, "You have a Chihuahua, right?" I say yes, and she asks if she's good with other dogs. Again, I say yes, and she brings up that her dog needs to meet other dogs. And so I smile at her and say that my dog would be perfect, as she's very patient with other dogs. Here's where I probably FD up. I add that if she wants, she can have my number, and we can set up a doggy date. Suddenly she gets awkward and looks terrified as she just says, "No thank you, sorry," and soon ends the conversation, just agreeing that if we meet up while walking our dogs they can meet. Anyway, so now I want to sink underground and never come back. I just hope she doesn't think I'm some creep. Too long did not read. I asked a stranger woman if she wanted to set up a doggy playdate, and she thought I asked her for a date. It is not like you asked her for a dogging date. Well, that's on her. Pretty normal thing to offer, especially given the topic. She reacted too quickly. Not a fuck up. She's the one who brought up your dog and suggested that they should meet. If she didn't want to set something formal up, she should have just said that she looks forward to meeting on a walk or something. Our dogs should meet. You. Okay, give me your number, so we can set up a time for our dogs to meet. No, not like that. Not a fuck up. It's a normal thing to set up a play date with your dogs, could have gone to a park or something. And even if you were asking her out, so what? She said no, not a big deal. You offering your number wasn't an F up. Her declining your number is totally acceptable as well. It was at worst a mildly awkward interaction. Don't overthink it. Today I fucked up by trying to meal prep like a professional chef. I decided this week I was going to be a responsible adult and meal prep lunches for work. I lined up all the containers, cut veggies with surgical precision, even made a little playlist so I'd feel like a Food Network star. The mistake. I massively overestimated both my fridge space and my math skills. Instead of 4 days' worth of lunches, I have ended up with something like 20 servings of chili crammed into every conceivable container in the kitchen. I have chili in Tupperware, chili in old yogurt tubs, chili in a mixing bowl covered with foil. The fridge looks like it had been overtaken by a bean cult. My whole house smells like chili too. Too long did not read. Tried to meal prep like a boss, made way too much chili, which I will be eating in the next 50 business days, and now my kitchen smells like cumin and regret. Freeze it. Winter is coming and chili will be good. Maybe take off the foil and replace with something else while you figure out what to do with it all. Foil and tomato sauce make a very weak battery, and it will eat a hole in your foil. Assuming you have tomato sauce in your chili. I found out the hard way when I covered a lasagna in foil. It turned my cheese green. Agree with freezing it. It will keep well. And you don't have to eat it just as chili. I like to use it as dip for tortilla chips, just add cheese and sour cream. Onions if you want. Could also make chili dogs. Plus, it's football season, so on some Sunday, invite friends over, and heat up a bunch of servings in the slow cooker. I promise they will never know it was reheated from frozen. Freeze it. Get little freezer soup cubes. And then freeze them. Awesome. But also, put it in Ziploc bags and into the freezer. Woman shrugging light skin tone. You have achieved a professional result. Former pro cook here, I am incapable of making small amounts of things like soup. I think it's because I start most things with a couple onions, and then it just escalates from there. Today I fucked up by leaving my window cracked open overnight. Today I woke up to my actual worst nightmare. My nose felt swollen and painful, so I grabbed some tissues, gave it a blow, and like an idiot, decided to peek inside. There was a spider. I screamed, which woke my husband. While he was trying to calm me down, he looked up and pointed at the ceiling, where about 1,000,000 tiny spiders were just hanging out like it was their Airbnb. Turns out they must have crawled in through the cracked window during the night. Now my nose still hurts and is swollen. It must have bitten me, and I can't stop thinking there's a stray spider leg or two still lodged up there. Too long did not read. Woke up with a spider in my nose. Found an entire spider frat party on the ceiling. Currently making plans to burn down my house and my nose. I'm sorry this happened to you. But there is a way to look at it, in which this is a win. You had your actual worst nightmare happen to you, and you are completely able to walk away with very minimal damage. You have conquered your fears and you stand triumphant. Congratulations. You're now the new friendly neighborhood spider person. But all jokes aside, should definitely install a screen in your window if you want to keep it open. Can't imagine how I'd react if I woke up to that. I hate you for writing this. I could have gone my whole life without ever having thought about this possibility. Been at least 3 times in my life that a spider crawled into my ear, bit me, and then wandered off, leaving me to wake up to a swollen ear canal. Your nose should be back to normal in a couple of days. Also, fuck that spider, what the shit. ChatGPT is back at it again. Strange, they don't tend to group up usually. What type of spider was it? Did they look like the recently hatched?